Landing your dream IT job starts with mastering the interview. Ready to impress hiring managers? Here are the top 10 must-know IT interview questions, and exactly how to answer them confidently. 1. How do you keep your IT skills current and stay updated with the latest developments in technology? I stay current by regularly following tech blogs, subscribing to newsletters like TechCrunch and Wired, and engaging in online communities such as GitHub and Stack Overflow. I take courses on platforms like Coursera, Pluralsight, and Udemy to learn new tools and frameworks. Attending webinars and industry conferences also helps me stay in touch with real-world applications. Additionally, I experiment with new technologies in personal projects, which sharpens my skills practically. Staying curious and consistent is key. The tech landscape evolves fast, and I believe a proactive learning mindset is essential for long-term success in IT. 2. Can you describe a challenging IT project you worked on and how you overcame obstacles? One challenging project involved migrating a legacy on-premise system to a cloud-based architecture. The existing documentation was outdated, and system dependencies were poorly mapped. I began with a detailed audit of the infrastructure and worked closely with stakeholders to understand critical workflows. Communication was key. I set up regular check-ins and created contingency plans. We faced latency issues post-migration, which I resolved by optimizing database queries and configuring auto-scaling. The project was completed on time, improved system performance by 40%, and strengthened cross-team collaboration. This experience taught me how vital planning, teamwork, and adaptability are in overcoming IT project challenges. 3. What programming languages and development tools are you proficient in? I am proficient in languages including Python, JavaScript, Java, and SQL. For front-end development, I use React and Angular, while back-end tasks are handled using Node.js and Django. I'm comfortable with development tools such as Git, Docker, Jenkins, and Visual Studio Code. I also work with databases like PostgreSQL, MongoDB, and MySQL. For version control and collaboration, GitHub is my go-to. I use VS Code extensions and Postman to streamline debugging and API testing. My tool set adapts depending on project needs, but I always prioritize writing clean, maintainable code. My goal is to build efficient, scalable, and user-friendly applications. 4. How do you approach troubleshooting a technical issue? I approach troubleshooting with a structured, step-by-step method. First, I gather as much information as possible about the issue, including error messages, logs, and user feedback. Then I try to replicate the issue in a controlled environment to understand its scope. Next, I isolate the cause by systematically checking configurations, dependencies, and recent changes. I apply solutions starting from the most likely cause, testing each fix incrementally. Documentation is key. I keep detailed notes of what worked and what didn't. Finally, I validate the fix, monitor the system, and share knowledge with the team to prevent future occurrences. 5. What experience do you have with cloud computing platforms like AWS or Azure? I have hands-on experience with both AWS and Azure, primarily in deploying and managing scalable applications. In AWS, I've used EC2, S3, Lambda, RDS, and CloudFormation to automate infrastructure. I've configured IAM roles and security groups to ensure proper access control. In Azure, I've worked with App Services, Azure Functions, and Cosmos DB. I've also utilized Azure DevOps for CI/CD pipelines. My cloud experience includes cost optimization, setting up monitoring with CloudWatch and Azure Monitor, and implementing disaster recovery strategies. I follow best practices to ensure security, performance, and high availability, always aligning with business goals and compliance standards. 6. How would you explain a complex IT concept to someone without a technical background? I use analogies and simple language to make complex IT concepts relatable. For example, I might explain cloud computing as renting space in a fully managed digital warehouse instead of buying and maintaining your own. I avoid jargon and focus on the problem the technology solves. I ask questions to understand the person's baseline knowledge and tailor my explanation accordingly. Visual aids like diagrams or real-world examples often help. My goal is to make the listener feel informed, not overwhelmed. Effective communication in IT means breaking down complexity in a way that empowers non-technical stakeholders to make confident decisions. 7. What strategies do you use to manage multiple deadlines and prioritize tasks? I rely on tools like Trello and Jira to manage tasks and set priorities based on deadlines, impact, and dependencies. I start each week by reviewing goals, breaking large tasks into smaller steps, and allocating time blocks on my calendar. I follow the Eisenhower matrix to distinguish between urgent and important tasks. Communication is key. I regularly sync with teammates and stakeholders to adjust priorities as needed. I also build in buffer time to handle unexpected issues. Staying organized, setting realistic expectations, and reviewing progress daily ensures I meet deadlines efficiently while maintaining quality and reducing stress. 8. Can you describe a time you worked under pressure and how you handled it? During a system outage that affected a major client, I had to act fast to identify and resolve the issue under immense pressure. I stayed calm, coordinated with the support and infrastructure teams, and quickly narrowed the root cause to a misconfigured firewall rule after a recent update. We applied a patch, restored service, and communicated transparently with the client throughout. I documented the event, led a post-mortem, and updated our incident response plan. The experience taught me that composure, teamwork, and clear communication are vital when navigating high-pressure IT situations. We retained client trust and improved our resilience. 9. What steps would you take to improve the security of a company's network? First, I would conduct a comprehensive security audit to identify vulnerabilities. I'd implement multi-layered defenses, including firewalls, intrusion detection systems, and endpoint protection. Regular patching and updates would be enforced to prevent exploits. I'd ensure strong access controls using principles like least privilege and multi-factor authentication. Network segmentation would limit the spread of potential threats. I'd establish robust data encryption, both in transit and at rest. Employee training on phishing and security hygiene is crucial. Finally, I'd set up continuous monitoring and incident response protocols. Security is an ongoing process that requires vigilance, education, and the right tools. 10. How do you ensure effective communication and collaboration between IT and other departments? I prioritize clear, jargon-free communication and establish regular touchpoints with other departments. I actively listen to their concerns to understand business goals and align IT solutions accordingly. I create user-friendly documentation and visual presentations to bridge gaps. In cross-functional projects, I involve stakeholders early and maintain open feedback loops. Using collaborative tools like Slack, Microsoft Teams, and Confluence helps ensure transparency. I also champion an empathetic mindset in IT teams, reminding them that technical excellence must serve practical, human needs. Effective collaboration begins with mutual respect and shared objectives, resulting in stronger outcomes across the organization. That wraps up the top 10 IT interview questions and answers to help you shine in your next interview. Prepare well, stay confident, and remember, every challenge is an opportunity to showcase your skills. Good luck!